Welcome back to the Basement Gun Shop. This is installment number 3. Last time we talked about the basic reloading equipment you're going to need to get into it and what you're going to need. This time we're going to go through my process for reloading pistol ammunition. Now, I'm going to tell you at the outset, there's going to be a lot of edits in this video because I want to reposition the camera so that you can see how the press gets set up with the dies. I want to reposition the camera to give you the best possible view of everything that I'm doing as I'm doing it. Okay? So with that being said, I am going to cover what's on the bench right now. We're going to be reloading some 38 specials. Okay? I don't know how they came up with 38 because the bullet diameter is 357. Go figure. So, hey, it is what it is, you know. We have our reloading manual open to the 38 special page. We have bullet heads. These are 125 grain flat point plated bullets. They're berries bullets. We have primers. We have gunpowder already in the powder measurer over there. We'll be using unique, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. We have our scale, which is not zeroed, because I want to show you how to zero a beam scale. We have 5 cases sitting in the loading block. We have the calipers, we have the powder, we have the priming tool with the shell holders all laid out. We have the dies right here. We already have the resized die in the press, but the shell holder isn't in the press yet. So let's get down to it. So here you have 2 different boxes of Remington pistol primers. You have a box of 1.5 small pistol primers and a box of 5.5 small pistol primers. What's the difference? 1.5 are for standard loads such as 9mm or 38. 5.5 are for magnum loads such as 357, 32 H&H, or is it H&R, something to that effect. But these are small pistol primers. These are small pistol magnum primers. Every manufacturer, whether it's Remington, Winchester, CCI, they all put out a small primer magnum, a large primer, and a small primer magnum in both pistol and rifle. So that's something you need to keep in mind. Never ever use a small rifle primer in a pistol load, and vice versa. Never use a small pistol primer in a small rifle load. I have 5 cases in my MTM case guard loading block. 5 38 cases. They are still have the old primer in it, so we're going to have to resize and deprime these cases. So here we have the press already set up. I hope you can make out the base of the die right here, and this pin. This is called the decapping pin. It takes the primer out of the case and the shell holder. When you're setting these up, these dies have a lock ring on the top. You want to screw the die into the press with the shell holder in there and then raise the ram just so it barely touches. You don't want any pressure on that die when the ram is at its fullest height. Just like that. Okay? So that is how you set up your dies. Except the crimp die, that's a different story. And then when you go to resize it, you put the case in and just press it right into the die like that. It pops the old primer out. I'll pull the case out, drop it in a bin just underneath it, and then we'll grab the other 4 cases and we'll resize them. And there you go. That's a resized case with the primer punched out, and this case is ready to be reloaded. If you're going to clean the primer pocket out, now's the time to do that. Now that we've resized our 5 cases, they do need to be checked to make sure that they're still within acceptable length. So we grab our little go no-go gauge that I showed you earlier, find the mark for 38 special. If it fits, you're good. So that one fits, that one fits, and again we're only checking 5, so that one fits, that one fits, and so does that one. So we're good on the length. The next step is, once we've got them resized, the next step that I like to do is called neck expand, so we have to change the die again. Now we're all set up. The neck expander die is in the press. We have our 5 cases right here. We need 1 bullet head and a lot of trial and error at this point. If you notice this spindle right here, let me see if I can zoom in on that for you. I know it's a little blurry, but this spindle on the die actually moves the neck expander ball. The reason it's backed out is because a lot of dies, especially for revolver, will do multiple calibers. For example, this set of dies is 38 and 357. 44 Magnum, 44 Bulldog, 44 Special. That's another set of dies that will do multiple calibers. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a case in the shell holder, run it up into the die. I feel no resistance. I'm going to turn this down until I start feeling it engaging the case. And I'm going to back this off, give it half a turn, run the case all the way through, grab a bullet head, and see if it fits. If it doesn't fit, I need to do it again. So we'll turn it down, run it through. Still doesn't fit. And we're gonna, I felt it contact there, and when it starts to flare out the neck, you can actually feel the flare. Oh, we're almost there. Nope. And more. And there, you can see how that fits right in there now. So we can pull that out, hold the spindle, and turn this lock ring down. I like to back up about a 1/16 of an inch and then turn it tight. So now the expander die is set. So now we can just run the next 4 right through, and you'll see that it fits just nice. So we can run these last 3 through. And if you're wondering what's happening when I drop the cases, I have like a plastic shoebox stuck in a drawer on my workbench here. That way I can just drop the cases into it and be done. I don't have to worry about where they're going or putting them back in the block until I need to. So we have completed our resize and deprime step. We set up the press, for the first die, which was resize and deprime. We ran the 5 cases through. Then we set the press up again for the second die, which was neck expand. Now, since we've neck expanded the cases, and we don't have to go back to the press until we're ready to seat and crimp the bullet, the next step is to prime the case and charge the powder. But right now we're just going to deal with priming the case. So I have my Lee Auto Prime XR already set up. There's 5 primers in the tray. There's 5 cases right here that we've been working with, and there's a loading block. I also have the powder measurer. It's already set up with the powders already in it, but the charge weight isn't set. Once we get this primed, then we're going to go to the book and decide what charge weight we're going to follow, what recipe we're going to follow for the 125 grain plated flat point that we're putting in there. So let's get down to the whole loading thing. So this is the way it works. You can see the primers in there. When you tilt, one drops onto the ram. You squeeze the handle. It drops under here and one drops on. You grab your case, put it in there, squeeze, and there's your primed case. That goes in the loading block. Grab your next one, and your next one, and your next one, and finally, oh, there's a 5th one in there. Come on, there we go. And your next one. As I'm priming each case, when I pull it out, I look, I see the right side of the primer that I should be seeing. I look at this, as I pull it out, I go like that, take a quick look, put it in the block, boom. Now, if I was doing a box, which is 50, I would be going through here like this, through all 50 cases, coming out of here, getting primed, going into the block. So, let's move the camera, let's get the scale set up, and we'll be ready for the next part, which is actually charging the case. Here you have our Hornady reloading manual. It's already opened to 38 special. There's a number of pieces of good information right here, including bullet diameter, max COL, or case overall length, max case length, case trim length. What's the difference? Well, case trim length is if you measure your brass. Let's go to max case length first. If you measure your brass and it's over 1.155 inches, then you have to trim it. What length do you trim it to? You trim it to your case trim length, which is 1.145 inches. Now, there's no reason to memorize all this stuff for every specific caliber. It's right here in the book. Your max case overall length is 1.475. That is the length that includes a seated and crimped bullet. So this is the number we want to work with. The go-no-go gauge uses this max case length 1.155. That's just the brass. Max case overall length is brass and bullet, a completed round. So now we need to find a load recipe. So here we have 125 grain. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in with the camera because it gets blurry. But there's 125 grain. I've got Unique powder out on the bench. Here's Unique. This gives you a load range of 4.5 grains up to a max of 5.0. There's also an asterisk. Look down here. That's a plus P load. We're not going there. So we're going to go middle of the road. We're going to load 4.7 grains of Unique. So how do we do that? Well, we swing over to the powder measurer right there and the scale. If you look at the scale on the left end, you'll see the 0 point right here. You'll see it's not zeroed, even though the weights are at 0. To zero a beam scale, this knob right here is threaded that it rests on. So you just get down so you're level, your eye level with the 0, and turn that till that beam is level. I like to check it. I'll just bump it a little bit, see where it comes back to, and we're level. Then you have to set the weights. We decided we were going to load 4.7 grains. So for charge weights under 5 grains, you're all out here with this little one. So 4.56 4.7 grains is right there. Blow the dust out of the pan and drop some powder, and let's see where we're at. Alright, so you can see how that came up a little bit. We're not at 4.7 grains. So what do we need to do? We need to open this. That was stupid. We need to open that up and back this lock ring off till it's loose, and then back this spindle off just a little bit. And then we'll dump that powder back in there and drop another charge and see where we're at. Now we're too heavy, so we turn it in. And do it again. We weigh that out. We're still too heavy, so we turn this in just a little bit. Drop another charge. Oh, so close. Just a tad. That's probably going to be a little light. So I apologize for this, but when I was setting up the scale to charge the cases, my camera ran out of memory space on the SD card because I had like 9 previous videos already on there from this section. So I kind of had to go on along without the camera. So at this point, we have zeroed the scale with the charge weight. In other words, we have the exact charge weight we want, 4.7 grains of unique, and I've placed the bullet heads on the cases, and we're ready to move to the press to seat and crimp the bullet heads. So we need to take out the neck expand die that we had in there previously. So we're just going to pop that open, break that loose, spin it out. If you reload multiple calibers like I do, 38 and 357, the best thing I can tell you at this point is turn that neck expander ball, turn that central spindle out. We grab the seat and crimp die. Now, I've already got the crimp. Evidently I don't, so that's a good deal. You can turn that in all the way. The first thing you want to set is the crimp. Okay? You're doing 2 operations that are permanent with 1 die. So the first thing you want to set is the crimp. The crimp is set by the outside body of the die. In other words, how far you turn this in is going to be the strength of the crimp on the bullet. There's really no good way to explain how to set the crimp other than you turn it in until it feels right to you. You'll know it's wrong because you're compressing the brass, and you'll see ridges in your brass somewhere below the bullet if you turn it in too far. So you've basically ruined a case, and it's time to get the kinetic bullet puller out and save what you can. In this case, it would be the bullet and the powder. So you turn your case in. Like I said, the crimp is set by the barrel of the die that you're turning into the press. The seating depth, or the depth to which you push the bullet down, is determined by this spindle right here. So let's turn that in for right now, and we're going to grab one case, put that in a shell holder, move it up into the die, and I feel nothing. So we're going to turn this down again till we feel some resistance. And right there I'm starting to feel some resistance. So I'm going to back off, turn it in a little bit, push that through. Nope, I can still wiggle the bullet. So we're going to spin that lock ring, turn it in some more. And I'm just kind of feeling my way here. There we go. Still wiggles. Little steps. There we go. And that's seated. Or that's crimped rather. Now we're going to turn the seat in, but first we're going to grab our calipers, because this is where the case overall length comes into play. We're going to open them up. We're going to turn them on. We're going to refer back to the book. In this book, and I'm not going to move the camera to show you, but in this book, it's giving me flat point and hollow point on the 125 grain page, and it's also giving me case overall length for both of those. The bigger, heavier bullets will have a longer case overall length. The smaller, lighter bullets, because they have to maintain the same diameter, a lighter bullet is going to be much shorter than a heavier bullet. So your case overall length changes, even within calibers. Your max case overall length of 1.475, that is the absolute max for a 38 Special. What the book is giving me for a flat point is case overall length 1.455 inches. Okay, so I'm going to roll my I'm going to make sure they're zeroed. So basically what I do when I zero digital calipers is I'll roll them out and just close it with my fingers, and if it reads 0, the way this does, right there, I'm good. If it doesn't, you hit the 0 button. Either way. Then I'll roll it out to 1.4. And I'll look. Obviously, I'm way over that length. Right now, the calipers are set at 1.459, and that's 4/1000ths of an inch too long. And you can see that that's really long. So we need to turn that seat spindle in. So we'll turn that in. Let's lock down the crimp ring so the die doesn't move off the crimp that we had set. And we'll turn that in and see what we get. Nope, we're still not even close. So we'll turn it in some more. I don't like that. That felt too hard. There we go. We're still way over. We're getting there. We're probably, 3/10 of an inch, 4/10 of an inch too far. Turn that in a little more. Hit it. We're at 1.536. Now we start little bitty. Now we want to measure each one. Each one we're getting shorter. Remember, you can always make the round shorter, but if you go too far, you got to get the kinetic bullet puller out and bang them apart. So it's at this point it's considerably better to take 15 tries to get it right rather than one try and you're too far. One, 5, 1, 2. Well, look at that. There you go. I told you you would make a mistake, and I just made one. I just crunched a brass. That tells me that the crimp is too tight, and I need to back that off. So it's kind of good that that happened. Back that crimp off. Grab another one and see where we're at. One, 5, 2, 2. One, 508. 1.508. Remember, at this point, you're dealing with the thousandth of an inch. 1491. And our ultimate goal is 1455. One, 483. Now remember, we're almost at the max case overall length, but we need to be 2/100ths under. Max case length is 1475. This is 1455. 1477. So after a number of trial and errors, we got them down to 1.455 inches. So we have perfectly good 38 special rounds that we can take to the range and bang away with. As far as the crunched round, I am actually glad that happened. No matter how long you've been doing this, you can make mistakes. I got caught up with filming the video and paying attention to the camera and not paying attention to what I was doing. In fact, in the video you can hear me say, oh, that felt too hard, and I didn't change it, and I should have. But I wanted to get through and get the video shot, get it, taken off the camera, get it uploaded to YouTube, and that's the result. I hate to sound like an old adage, but haste makes waste. That's the way it works out, and this, that proves it right there. I hope you can see that, how badly that's crunched. So, take your time, make sure you get it right the first time. Now, let's talk about ammunition. Do not, under any circumstances, reload your carry ammo. Why? Well, here's my carry piece. It's a Glock 29 and 10 millimeter. It's loaded with Hornady Critical Defense. I have no control over how this round functions. I have no control over the velocity at which it leaves the barrel. I have no control over how it expands when it hits the target. The only thing I have control over is the target that it hits. If you are unfortunate enough to live in some communist state like California, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, just to name a few. And it breaks my heart. Connecticut, the Constitution state. That truthfully breaks my heart. The irony is painful to me. But if you are unfortunate to live in one of those states, and you are unfortunate enough to have to use your firearm to defend yourself, your loved ones, your home, your property, or some random stranger on the street, which, any moral individual would feel obliged to do. If you reloaded the ammunition that you are carrying, all it would take is some overachiever, eager beaver district attorney with political aspirations to just totally charge you with murder. Because you had control over how that round functioned. You loaded it. You chose the components. You have 100% control over that round. And I hate to say that, but this is one of the things that gun owners nowadays and people who carry for defense of themselves and others have to pay attention to. Breaks my heart to say that. This is not the country I grew up in. But that's something you need to keep in mind. So, buy your carry ammunition. Don't reload it. Reload everything for the range. Save yourself the money, or rather get more for your money by reloading, but don't reload your carry ammunition. Please don't. That is not a chance I'm willing to take. I'll spend $35 on 25 rounds of Hornady critical defense in 10mm, or 45 ACP, or 9mm, or 38, or 357, or 380, or whatever I happen to be carrying at that specific time. All my handguns, and I have a wide range of them, I have boxes of either Federal Hydra-Shocks, Federal HSTs, Hornady Critical Defense, Hornady Critical Duty, one of the extreme terminal performance rounds that are manufactured for people like myself and you, if that's your intent. And when I go out of the house, that's what my carry gun for the day gets loaded with. So please, again, don't reload your carry ammo. Please don't. And that is just, just a wish to keep law-abiding citizens from getting screwed by the judicial process or one scumbag with political aspirations. But that's reloading for pistol in a nutshell. From resizing and depriming the case, to the neck expand, to priming, to charging the case, setting your scales, setting your bullet seat depth and crimp strength. That's pretty much it. A lot of your seating and crimping is done by feel, which unfortunately I can't transmit to you through the lens of a camera. I can only say, well, I'm feeling some resistance, or well, that felt too hard, or something to that effect. But if you have any questions, I will be more than willing to answer them. Drop me a comment, like the channel, subscribe, that would be even better. Woohoo! Do me a favor, if you watch the first episode, leave a comment for my buddy Jonas, the guy shooting my Taver in the banana suit. He's been texting me. I just warned him that I'm going to make you famous, and his reply was, famous or infamous? I'm okay with either one. So, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And please, let me know what you think. This is Jim from the Basement Gun Shop. Have a nice day, and keep shooting.